Bruce Linton, welcome.
Hey, thanks.
It is so awesome to have you here.
Smart place to set up. I'm walking around. Next thing you know, I've got a chair.
Yeah, exactly. These are very nice white chairs.
Very comfy.
These chairs brought to you by, I have no idea.
I'd do any interview just to get to sit down.
Right.
At a trade
Whoever
show.
made these chairs should really get a cut. So tell me, listen, I'm just going to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
What happened at Canopy, and what are you up to now? Tell me what happened at Canopy first.
So, Canopy had quite a bit of progress, right? 6 years ago, it is a pretty small company, a few people, and by July 2nd or 3rd, when I was done, it was over 4,000 people, and we had done 17 rounds of finance, I believe, to get there. Little things like a $600 million convertible, a $4 billion premium to market investment, a $490 million one, a couple of $200 million ones, and the company had grown on a way that had almost been the same mentality and process as when I had 5 people, which means that I wasn't very interested in earnings per share because I knew they would come. I wasn't worried about margin. Once you knew what the margin model was going to be, I was better for expansion. And so I was more interested in expansion than margin. I was more interested in domination than earnings per share. And that combination of things isn't always going to be in alignment with people and organizations that have a lot of big cash. And I think, I'm not sure that I was right or wrong, but I just know what I want to do. And so ultimately the bright path for the company is probably to focus a bit more on sooner profits and scale. Then I was ready to put it all in red 12 and know that it was going to hit 3 times.
Right.
And so the result is the board has a right to change things, and they did. And so I was terminated effective sometime on the 2nd, and Mark Zakulin, who's actually the guy who really makes the place run, he's there until the next CEO is appointed, and then he's done. And I think the place will do fine because it's full of a whole bunch of super smart people who understand it's a fast march against a precise target, which is get there first, have the best IP, and make sure what we create, people will stand in line to get.
Did it surprise you at all? Was it surprising?
No, it was, sort of like the relationship of how does this work wasn't aligned. And so it was a very long 8 months and 2 days until that conclusion after the board changed, because I'm not really very good at trying to figure out how do I get to do what I want to do. I want to do it, and I want always people 100% saying go faster, go hard, let's get it done. And so I didn't know when it would happen, but I was certainly not. I didn't think it was going so well that it was not going to have some time of a break.
Right. All good things must come to an end.
Yeah, and listen, I think in the 6 years, I miss all the people and the getting to lead things and working through deals, but there's lots of places where I'm going to get to go deals, and there's lots of places where I'm going to get to lead things, and I'll go do that and get at it again. But, it was a pretty full 6 years, and so probably, was I going to be there for 10 years or 8 years or 7 years? I don't know. But finish line happened, and what you have to say is shit happens, but what I'm describing is the unplanned exit from a company that in 5 or 6 years became a US $15 billion company with operations in 16 countries, nearly 100 patents issued to it, a whole bunch more coming, 60 clinical trials up and running or soon to be running, and that's a pretty productive window of time.
So everybody's now watching you now because you were, one of the biggest names in the cannabis business, certainly the biggest company in the cannabis business. And what's Bruce Linton going to do next, right? I mean, so what are? And you've got you're walking the floor here like you're in your civilian clothes.
Yeah.
And what are you looking at? What interests you?
So I have a non-compete, meaning I won't be participating in the Canadian market again. But I wouldn't even need that. There's no chance. What we created in Canada and then expanded globally in Canopy, there's no interest in going back to try and do something in Canada again. The world's a very fertile place. And so I will do one thing, which will be an international ex-US, ex-Canada, compliant with jurisdictional federal laws, with an orientation to medical research. I will do one US-based, either MSO or seeking to be MSO, THC primarily driven company. I'll do one thing which focuses on mammals other than humans, dogs probably, with cats secondarily. And I will do one thing which will be an ancillary. So ancillaries could be your business, it could be this trade show, it could be people who produce extractors, it could be a variety of things that are not directly vertically operating as a business for the utilization of their assets.
So let's pick those 4 you just said.
Yeah, so those are my primary 4.
Yeah.
And the way I'll do them is I'll be like part of the executive team and or board. And each week I'll be on the management calls. And then as I'm running around doing stuff, you know what happens is Project A all of a sudden accidentally has a demand that relates to Project B. And a policy change in some other jurisdiction creates an opportunity for Project C.
Right.
And so I think where I am now is I can actually understand each of the areas and know how to utilize connective tissue to get more done. Bring down the cost of capital,
right.
Expand the parties that we collaborate with, attract the really big players to work with us, stuff like that.
Why those 4?
I go back and forth. I don't think there'll be conflict between them. So I don't want to be in a situation where I have to recuse myself from voting on something because there's a overlap that's an embarrassing thing. I want it to actually have enough sufficient boundaries that that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
And I might do something with CBD. My issue with CBD is it's got to be the upside down model. I really want hemp to be the driver, CBD to be the last ingredient thought of as a value proposition. And
why is that?
Well, because I want a business even if CBD doesn't actually, if there's too much CBD, I want all the other things to be a business. So,
right.
You know, you should have no waste and you should have income.
And I was very interested in your animals interest. Is that a personal sort of passion of yours, or is it something that you just see an opportunity?
A bit of both. I like dogs, so I know in the case of Cannabis, when we were doing things with dogs, I went to the place where the dogs were and made sure that they were happy dogs, well-treated dogs, and there was nothing on. Very nice. But I think it's regrettably, you know, as the age of our dog goes up, our connection to the dog and our tears with the passing of the dog almost exceed family members who might have been aunts or uncles.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a massive economic opportunity. There hasn't been a history of prescribing for dogs. So in Canada, it's much easier to get a data set on humans because they've had since 2001 a method to get access to cannabis. Dogs have not, ever.
Yeah, ever.
And so I think it is an area that hasn't actually been painted out very well.
One thing you brought up in your speech, your talk this morning that I was very interested in, was that you saw an opportunity in hemp straws. That you tell me. Of course, everybody ran out of the room and call my, you know, let's get the straw business going.
I just picked that one because if you want to use an example that everybody reacts to, use an example that people are already reacting to. And so in the last 12 months, we've had a national or global obsession with the almighty straw. We now, if someone takes a plastic straw, they're publicly shunned.
Yes.
And if you use a paper straw, people wonder why do you need any straw. And in some markets like the UK, they give you metal straws.
Yes. Which
are great. Now that will go right through the back of your throat and cause you to have some kind of permanent damage. And so
it's a terrible invention, the metal straw.
The whole straw thing is completely wild and mind-blowing to me, and I can't even, I think about straws way too much because it's just so weird that straws are such a big part of our daily dialogue now that when you want them to think about how they use hemp, if I said I'd like you to make hemp flip-flops, well, nobody would think about flip-flop because we haven't been thinking about them all day long.
Yeah.
I'd like you to make hemp chairs. No, hemp straws because we're crazy about straws.
Yeah.
And so I just use that because it's an example that everybody's
thinking about it.
They're already overactivated on these damn straws. And
maybe plastic bags too. Maybe there's an opportunity.
But, you know, there's a little bit cray about the plastic bags. But right now, you are a diabolical, evil person if you take a straw. And so I like to play on that.
Is that the way your mind works as an entrepreneur, where you look at like what are the big issues of the day and how can I solve them?
I try to all the time. I try to, like, unless there's a major catalyzing event that creates a wave of opportunity, you spend way too much time paddling. And so the regulatory frameworks emerging for cannabis were the primary reasons I got involved. When you think about stuff, like one of the things I'm working on, and I haven't found answers to, but where I would like to put some time is, I can accept that climate change probably is occurring. Okay, fine. No argument. What I want to know, who are going to be the winners out of that? And you said, well, what do you mean? Well, I don't know. Are the fish going to be where they didn't used to be? Can I get a fishing fleet license in another country that never used to have that kind of fish because the water moves the fish? Is there going to be like a genetics company that makes seeds that really handle much higher variations in dry days or temperatures, that you can actually grow crops even though the temperature increases or decreases or the water increases or decreases? So like, major catalyzing event is climate change. How do you actually manage through that and create value?
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you to leave your car running. What I'm telling you is turn your car off, but we already have climate change. How do we make money with that?
Yeah. So you're thinking about that. Do you think cannabis and climate change will intersect in some way?
I don't know if they will. I think people will feel better if their cannabis comes from very passive platforms. People like the fact that, you know, if you have a very small hydrocarbon footprint, it means you also have extremely low operating costs. And so I think everybody should be thinking about being extremely green while growing the green, because it's actually really good business. And so, you know, they will. But no, on the other stuff, to me, it's more just like, how does this work?
It's a curiosity that you bring to things.
Well, you got to have a big theme. Global climate change is a big thing, and that will cause a whole bunch of new opportunities that we should figure out how to make the most of.
Yeah. What's your advice to, I'm sure people ask you, I want to get into this business, what are the opportunities? But what do you have an answer that you tell?
I tell them, get in any company. I don't care. With Canopy, people say, I really want to get in and I'd like to be the director of blah blah. I said, who cares? Join as a trimmer if you have to, because we hire up inside faster than we hire in from the outside. And so get in, get going, and see what happens.
So just get a job, get in the business.
Like, you know, I'm waiting for you know what, make the right opportunity, get in.
Right.
If you want to create your own business, these trade shows are okay, but go join a business and work, give yourself 12 months to really understand it and find 3 things that you think you have the aptitude to invent or create that are better. Because the last thing we need are some people just sitting by themselves inventing stuff and then running around like a hammer looking for a nail. There's a lot of that, man. If I have another pitch on some of these RFID and alternate methods of tracking, you know, crypto structure stuff, I'm like, what problem are you solving?
If you can't define that problem in like one sentence, right, or it's not clear. I hear you. All right, Bruce, this has been fascinating. Is there like a motto? Do you live by, as a business, is there sort of a motto that you live by, a sort of a maxim or something?
I have never been involved in creating a company that didn't continuously give everyone some equity ownership. And I continually think that you know, you can actually own the corner store and be really proud of owning the corner store, or you can own like 1% of Walmart. And I just keep thinking that percentage you own shouldn't be relevant. It's the value you create that gives you the return. And it's a lot easier to create a lot of value by sharing a lot.
It's a great attitude.
Works so far.
It's done very well for you. If you want to stay in this chair the rest of the conference, I'm totally fine with it. It definitely attracts a crowd, which I like.
I'll just hang out and answer questions.
Thanks
for the interview.
So thanks, Bruce. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.